Hey everyone, well, it's Truth Tuesday, and I apologize. I am starting this 4 minutes behind schedule. I was actually scheduling a replay, and somehow I had a few delays. I had too much text. I didn't realize there was a limit. I had too much text in the box for my streaming service, so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to take off. So I do apologize, but I had to finish that before I started this live stream. Otherwise, the information would have been lost. So thank you for understanding. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Truth Tuesday, and my name is Victoria Huff. I am the founder of the Happy Executive. We do fractional sales and marketing work for our clients. A lot of them are CEOs and founders. Many are introverts that don't have sales experience. And please understand when I refer to like an introverts or tendencies to be introverted, I am not using that as a label, but I'm using that as an identifier, as a connector. I am an introvert. Okay. I have just had to learn to be extroverted because in sales, it's important that you can talk with people and effectively communicate with people. There was a time in my life, especially I would say grade school and high school, when I was really afraid to even hear myself speak. And the way I knew that was I worked at a store. They're not around anymore, but GC Murphy, which GC Murphy Company, which I think is I'm pretty sure it was related or a division of Woolworth. So I worked at GC Murphy Company in Wheeling, West Virginia, and I believe that there aren't anymore, but there were Woolworths in the Midwest. So maybe somebody is identifying with that, or if you did grow up in West Virginia like I did, or around the surrounding states, then that may seem familiar to you. But yes, GC Murphy Company. And when I had to get on the microphone to page somebody, I would get scared. My heart would be beating fast, and I just really didn't like hearing my voice. Strange, I know. Now it's like some of you may say, she just doesn't know when to stop talking. But I hope that's not the case. But if it is, right? That's your perception. And I've come a long way. So that is really the truth that I wanted to speak about today. Pretty much nothing is impossible if you make your mind up, if you decide, if you claim it, and you believe that it's not insurmountable, then you can achieve it. And I want you to know that because, I grew up in a small town, like I was saying, Wheeling, West Virginia. I didn't have any brothers. I didn't have any sisters. I had some friends, but I can tell you that I had many lonely moments, and that is not to be said to make you feel sorry for me. That's not the point. The point is that if I can do this and I can build a very profitable business that can serve a bunch of people that may not know how to do sales and marketing, then you can achieve your dreams as well. it's so important not to settle. And I've done over 4,800 coaching sessions. I'll have to get the exact number again. It's really closer to 4,900. But since 2014, I have conducted over 4,800 coaching sessions. And I've learned many things. We learn from our colleagues, we learn from our clients, we learn from our kids, we learn from our parents. So if we have that mindset that we should always be learning, uh, learning and doing, but there's a process to it, right? It's not haphazard action. It's taking intentional action and being able to evaluate that. But I just want to assure you that if you have a strong desire to earn more money, if you have a strong desire to work yourself into a sales role, I know people and I've worked with people that have started at an admin level, meaning they started entry level, they were in an administrative role, and they wanted to get into sales. There are many, many advantages to sales. Now, I know that a lot of people are sales adverse. I've also been on coaching calls, like, maybe call number one, call number two. Uh, and I could visibly see the signs, the physical signs of my client when they spoke about sales. It was not in a positive manner in some cases. And that's why they chose to do coaching, so that they could learn how to do sales and enrollment. I prefer to call it enrollment, right? Now of course, step 1 is making sure that you're enrolled in whatever it is you're recommending for them. Because if you're not enrolled, if you're not 100% into that, 110% committed, then chances are they're not going to be either, right? Because it's about that energy exchange. We have to be 100% into, I like to say 110% actually, but we need to be 110% committed to helping those clients get the results. They have to do the work too. It's not, even if it is a done for you service, they still have a responsibility. They still have tasks, things that they have to do. Maybe some of it's mindset work, you know, but whatever the case is, now that's all, that is not, let me assure you that we discuss those. If there are things like, if there are um, foundational beliefs that need to be addressed, then there is a plan in place. Now, sometimes those beliefs don't really appear, they are not really confirmed until we're well into the program. But when we do identify those, then we do address those, because that's super important. The beliefs need to change. Even if you are a CEO and founder, you may tend to be introverted. You may have an aversion to sales. Like I said, I have seen this several times, and it's quite amazing to see the transformation of our clients. Being able to see the transformation of our clients from a client that was visibly stressed and verbally stating that The word sales caused her to cringe. The word sales would cause a client of ours, another client of ours, to tense up his shoulders. He felt the tension in his shoulders anytime he thought or spoke the word sales. Okay, I know this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. Because if we are building a business, or for that matter, helping another individual or a team of people build their business, like let's say, if you're not a founder or CEO, let's say you're an employee, of a company, as maybe you're a BDR, maybe you're an SDR, maybe you're a sales rep, whatever the area is. If you're carrying a quota or you have KPIs, everybody needs to be okay with sales. If you are in a role, meaning client facing, so that you can make sure that you guide that potential client through the journey, through the prospect journey, and then, convert them to the client, because it's a process, right? It's a very important process, and every step is meant to be taken with intention, not just kind of flying by. Now the good thing is that sometimes your clients will already be ready to enroll in your program. You have to know to look for the signs. They may already be ready. Many times I've had to slow the process down just a little bit so that I could make sure that it was a mutually good fit. Because this doesn't happen that often, but occasionally someone will come in and express interest, schedule a call, we have the discussion. But if everything isn't lined up per se, if they are not in the exact right place, or perhaps they have expectations that are not in alignment with what we do. Perhaps what they sell, this has only happened a couple times, but perhaps what they sell or the market they serve is not an area that we serve, then I would certainly do what I can. I have a very large network, so I would, if I felt that we could not help you, then I would certainly do what I could to get someone to help you. This year, I'm going to be bringing on additional coaches, because my time right now, I run between 28 and 30 coaching sessions a week. Now, they're not all 1 hour long. Before you start thinking like that, like you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, how many hours a week is she working? Some of them are 45 minutes, some are an hour, but the majority of them are 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Okay. But nonetheless, it's 28 to 30 coaching sessions a week. And that requires me to be, 110% energetic, ready to go, because I show up to serve and to develop strategies that will help our clients get to where they want to be as quickly as possible. But there are processes, and there is technology, and there are systems that need to be built, and there's coding that needs to be done. And we can do all of that for our clients that we serve with our core offer, which is a fractional sales and marketing acceleration program. This has been super helpful for our clients, and it really gets them to a point where they have not only the front facing strategies, but they have the back office, the foundation of the back office. So we can either continue to support them or help build out their team. We discuss this when we're, working together, but it's on a fractional basis, which is a win 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 because the client of ours is not making a long term commitment to an employee that may or may not produce. That has been one of the biggest learning lessons that I've seen and heard from our clients. Many of our clients have hired business development reps, they've hired sales development reps, they've hired sales reps, they've hired sales setters. I could go on and on. In a lot of cases, not all, but the ones that come to talk to us, in a lot of cases, it's been nothing but disappointment. Disappointment because numbers weren't met, sales were not achieved. In worst case scenario, prospects and clients were very upset. I don't like to hear those stories. However, those stories are important to be told when appropriate so that we know what they've been through. And then we can let them know what the plan would be moving forward and ask them if they would like to continue and ask them would they like our help with this. That's how we work with our clients. But it's about results. It's about results and it's about outcomes. And those outcomes and results vary from client to client. In most cases, our clients are up and running. They have the foundational systems and they are in a position to know who are they serving? What are they delivering to them? Meaning to their clients, and how are they servicing them? Those are three core questions that need to be asked. Something that you can ask yourself today if you are not where you want to be from a numbers perspective, or maybe you're just at a plateau. Maybe perhaps you are another SaaS company and you are at a plateau. Or perhaps maybe you are in the healthcare sector, life sciences, biotech, and you just, at the point that, exceeding 5 million, maybe you've been at 5 million for a couple years. We've had some clients like that. So, everything is possible, provided that we believe and that we have a plan and we're doing the right things in the right order. Where I hear people taking several steps backward is when they are not doing the right things in the right order, or they are switching their strategies around without allowing those strategies enough time to test, be executed, and determine the effectiveness. Because obviously, if we're always switching lead generation strategies, which by the way, that's the most common strategy or the common request that I hear from potential clients when we're talking with them before we onboard them is, I don't have enough leads. But more often than not, that could be true. They don't have enough leads. But more often than not, it's not just about the leads. It's also about what they're doing, how they're approaching the leads. Do they have the technology that we provide in the back office? Small tech stack, by the way. I really like to operate with a very lean tech stack. Now, sometimes the situations and the needs of our client do not allow that, but whenever possible, That is our principle. We operate with a very lean tech stack so that we don't have too many layers, because of course those layers, if they're not operating effectively or if there are, issues, that can cause some roadblocks, cause some bumps along the way. But it's nothing like that we can't accomplish. It's not that we can't overcome those. But I have found over the years, I've been using the same technology since 2014. Gosh, I can't believe it's been 10 years. So, I am a big believer of the CRM and the email campaigns and texting campaigns and that we use, because it has been uh, very effective and very profitable for us and our clients. And that's what's important. And by the way, before I wrap up here with this Truth Tuesday, and how we were talking about being introverted and being able to be an introvert, be shy, and still do well in sales. It's super important. It's super important that we identify our truths, because if we don't identify our truths, if we don't know really what we're dealing with and what we want to achieve, of course, then we're not going to achieve it, because everything needs to be clearly defined. Yes, I know you might say, well, I'm just going to try and see what happens. And then maybe if I can get into a sales role, then maybe I'll do that. You may not want to be in sales, and that's okay. Because if you wanted to be in sales, you would be more intentional about it and you would be more committed so that you can get yourself out there. You need to be heard. You need to be seen in order to earn more revenue for you and for your company and more recognition. The recognition and the revenue go hand in hand. Recognition and revenue. Okay? Don't swap those out, because I'm a firm believer that there needs to be some type of a transaction that takes place before the transformation. And that transformation could be of your business. That transformation could be of your life, of course, too. But in this particular case, right now, we're talking about sales and business and scaling revenue. A transaction must precede the transformation. So you can call it whatever you want, but we need to have skin in the game. We need to have that commitment so that whatever it is we have to do on our end, if we're a client, that is done and that we're not making excuses. I've had some clients that enroll in our program and they inevitably have to dismiss their current BDRs or SDRs because they realized they weren't reaching their numbers. And that's part of the reason why we're working together. I'm a big believer in seeing, doing an assessment, seeing if we can develop, is there an opportunity and a willingness to develop their existing team. That would be, of course, the first choice. But if it's not, in some cases, there have had to be some terminations, and unfortunately, those are necessary sometimes. I prefer that it doesn't get to that, but sometimes it has gotten to that, because in a lot of cases, they probably shouldn't have been where they were to begin with. If they weren't 100% committed, or they just kind of fell into that role, you really can't just fall into a BDR or an SDR role. You have to be hungry to make sales. You have to be dedicated and intentional to do the right actions. Because if you don't get the right actions down, you're not going to get the desired outcomes, right? We all know that, but I think sometimes we need to hear those words so that we can, with certainty, know that if we're not doing the right things, we're not going to get the right actions. If we're not doing the right things, we're not going to get the right outcomes. Don't waste your time. Decide what you want. If you want to be in a sales role, then start taking actions today. Start doing the small steps, doing your research, checking into options, applying for positions. Then it would become figuring out what experience you've had to this point that you could use when you were applying for that position. And again, it's all possible. It's not always easy, but if you hire a coach, you can get more clarity and you can practice in a role play scenario. I had a really difficult time transitioning from a retail position to an outside sales position. Because when I was out of college, I had retail sales. I had done an internship I majored in business administration and I specialized in marketing, not just marketing, but fashion marketing. Okay. So of course I had the basic marketing, but I really, to this day, love clothes. I love putting outfits together. I loved putting outfits together for other people more so than I even did for myself. And so that's why I worked as an intern at the Limited Corporation. The Limited stores are still around here, unlike GC Murphy with my story earlier. So it was a defining time in my life. And I needed to figure out a way because I was motivated, and still am, in making money. Money motivates me so that I can provide a life for my kids. I can plan for the future, whoever that is that I'm going to be sharing my future with. But I want to create generational wealth for my family. I want my children to know that anything is possible if you do the right things in the right order and you surround yourself with the right people. If you're with the wrong people, chances are you're not going to be able to get to the level that you need to be. You may get somewhere and then you may do that peak and valley thing, which isn't fun. But we've all experienced that. We may find ourselves around the people 50% of the time. And then perhaps if we're around family members or friends that are worried about us or whatever the case is, or don't understand what we do, that other 50% might be kind of peak and valley, causing us to doubt ourselves. Now, that doesn't mean those people are not good people. Our family and friends that don't really understand or don't really support us, they just are in a different place. So we cannot allow them to stop us from scaling our companies, from getting to where we want to be. And guess what? It's not always going to be easy. I think one of the things that I've heard too much online is, well, it should be easy. Let it be easy. Let it be easy. Okay. Well, I love that phrase. And there is value in that phrase because it does cause you to take a deep breath and to step back and be like, yes, let this be easy. It can be encouraging. However, in the whole big scheme of things, it's not about rainbows and ponies all day. I think we all know that. So find your truths, reach out. Let me know if you're looking to get into sales or if you're in a sales role. I'd love to know. So find your truth, comment, send me a DM. Take care, everyone.